Hi, it's Lawyer Lisa. The reason why I'm doing this video is because of the seriousness of CCP interference in our election. We have the concept that justice must be done and that justice must be seen to be done. And the reason why I'm concerned is that we're going to wait for a report to let us know the whats. The whys is the question that we need to be asking. Why is there election interference? Well, the presumption has to be on the side of caution. Otherwise, our nation state is at risk, right? So we need to err on the side of caution, and we have to presume that the whys and the price affected was high. Now, what would be a reason to interfere with an election? It would be so that Canadian society approximated society under CCP rule. Now, the answer is in front of our noses. We do not need Justin Trudeau, right, to dictate the terms, right, under which an examination of this seriousness would take place. We simply take out at every level, at every governmental level, every piece of legislation, bylaw, provincial legislation that has been passed. Does it approximate Canadian values or approximate CCP versions of life? Is it a parental all-watching of Canadians, right? Is it a preparation of a digital infrastructure QR code enabled central bank digital currency enabled life where all actions of Canadians are monitored? Would that approximate a Canadian version of our nation state or a version of life under the CCP? Then we demand that every one of our MPs err on the side of logic, which is to presume that such drafts were passed at the behest of a foreign government. If it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck. And we shoot that duck. We line it up. We shoot down that legislation. All legislation passed during a time period in which there has been allegations and known allegations, resignations of MPPs, for instance. We know there's election interference. We do not know the depth. We do not know the future consequences. If we do not pass, if we do not get rid of the legislation that may be weaponized against Canadians, we may be forever changing the fabric of our society and not for the better. We do not need to be CCP watched on the internet and measured Canadians. In fact, if there's been election interference in any country, it would be presumed that at all times that is a most serious allegation and that we must err on the side of caution. We have a media that does not hold our government's feet to the fire. We have a silencing of opinions and the concept of right think. We have watching Canadians on the internet through several bills. We have a new infrastructure to do so. We have spending to do so. We have democracy through McKinsey. We have all kinds of concerns, and all of them are ringing a bell for me in that they approximate CCP version of Canada. So under those circumstances, we shoot the legislation. And any MP that wants to side with CCP type legislation will have the taint of the question of whether or not they too were compromised. It's the perfect foil for oppressive legislation that weaponizes laws against Canadians. It is extremely serious, and any nation who has similar type issues must do the same thing. Every provincial or state or federal law has to be rooted through methodically, and every provision that screams China, CCP, must be presumed to be the price. Then a new election can be declared, and if we want parental governments that decide and micromanage our lives and denude us of our rights, our purchasing power, then so be it. But who would willingly walk into their prisons in terms of a digital infrastructure? No one. So it's Lawyer Lisa. And I thank you for watching and for considering very meaningfully what I've set out. I believe in transformational change in our democracy. And by that, I mean if there's been a weaponization of laws, a silencing of viewpoints, a concept of right think, a disenfranchisement of debate, then that must all be reversed, all at once. Media must be freed to have strong discourse and criticize its government. It has to be freed financially from being paid by government. North Korea, China, and Canada all have a national media, and so do we. There's a concept of narrative that's been extremely uncomfortable. The idea that you have to toe a line, almost so much so that even you do it in company that you keep that are your friends or your colleagues. No more. How much of our society has altered for the worse and towards right think parental China under this government? Thank you. Like, share, subscribe.